All the cookies melted together.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. I'm just gonna let give it a minute for people to come in. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my microphone, and I just wanted to welcome everyone to the Sanctuary of the Divine Feminine. And this is our first moon service, so I'm really excited about that. And today is the full moon in Aries. And let's see. All right, let me turn the microphone. All right, today is the full moon in Aries, and it's really about facing our shadows because there's so many aspects connected to us needing to do shadow work with the Mars, um, the planet that rules the zodiac sign that the full moon is in Scorpio, and that deals with dealing with your working with your shadow. And retrograde Chiron is also in Aries, and that's the wounded healer. So that also is a place we can look to see what kind of shadow work we need to do. And Lilith is not conjunct Mars in Scorpio, but it still is in it still is in Scorpio. So that's another place that we can look to see the kind of shadow work we need to do. So it's all about facing your shadows so you can be clear on what to let go for this full moon so you can move forward into your new self, into your new transformation. Okay. So when you leave here, that's what I want you to be clear on. I want you to be clear on what you're gonna either because doing shadow work is not all about letting go of things. Sometimes you just might need to like really embrace something and really just like fiercely accept something. So what do we need to accept, like fiercely just accept about ourselves, and what do we need to let go? Anything that's holding us back, that's keeping us stuck from moving forward, we really need to reflect on that. Okay. So at the end of this talk, while we're talking about shadow work, I want to tell you about it's a free shadow work journaling challenge that I want to do in the YouTube community. So it's free and you don't have to do a lot of clicking. And it's either going to start tonight or tomorrow. You know, I'll keep you posted in the community. And it's just 14 days, us leading up to the new moon in Libra. Just really doing a lot of shadow work based on the transiting Chiron and the transiting Lilith, and even debilitated Venus right now. Is conjunct with K2, or the south node of the moon. We're really going to focus on those points so we can be letting off any type of burdens, anything that's keeping us stuck leading up to the end. Okay, I'm trying to stay on task for my notes. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about while we're talking about letting things go is uh, letting go things that we have relationships to that are not for our highest good. Okay, so it could be relationships with a person, it could be relationships with certain things like habits, or it could be any type of relationship that we have with ourselves that's not allowing us to step into our power. That's not allowing us to move forward. That's not allowing us to take the lead and take control in our lives. We need to let those go. Now, the main focus is on relationships because the sun, debilitated transiting sun, is in Libra, but I do Vedic astrology. So the section of Libra that the sun is in is called Swati. And Swati is ruled by Rahu. And Rahu is like a smoky north node of the moon. And so when it can make things seem like like they're illusions. They can make things seem like it's not clear. And when it comes to relationships, with it being in Libra, it can make you not clear on what choices that you need to make when it comes to relationships. So, and with Rahu also being in Pisces, which is it's a zodiac sign where things can just seem really unclear. Okay. Um, so we're going to make sure that we're not gaslighting ourselves into staying in relationships, any type of relationship that's going to keep us from moving forward. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is we want to make sure that we're doing things that are daring. Okay. And when I say do things that are daring, I mean, again, we have Mercury is in Scorpio, so that's our communication. So that means if we might need to say things that are bold, that are daring, that can help us let things go and move to our new level. We might need to do things with Mars in Scorpio and being the ruler of this full moon. We might need to do things and take action on things that are going to take us to the new level. And with Lilith being also in Scorpio, we might need to do things that help us like fiercely accept our dark feminine energy, because that's what Lilith is. Lilith is our dark feminine energy. So we might need to like fiercely accept that part of ourselves. Um, and the last thing we need to do, because the moon represents love and it represents nurturing, but Aries represents ourselves. Okay. So we might need to make a new commitment to loving ourselves. And we might need to make a new commitment to our self-care journey. That's what we need to really be focused on during this full moon. So I'm going to pull a couple cards and just see if we can get a little bit more clarity on what we need to. What was the first thing? What do we need to know? Cards, please. What do we need to know about relationships that we need to let go of during this full moon in Aries? Hmm. I got the Emperor reverse coming out. That's Mars. Okay, so let's see. Death coming out reverse at Scorpio. Okay, so it's looking like what we need to know about relationships for this full moon is it has to do with, not being afraid to make the big change, not being afraid to make the big change, because that's going to lead us to the Empress energy. Um, Most likely because it's with Venus is with Taurus. Also, we have the Three of Cups, so we need to make sure in we're going into relationships that celebrate who we are, that celebrate us, and it's the main energy is the Ace of Scrolls, like letting go of energies, letting go of relationships that are keeping us off track from our goals. Because, with the full moon being in Aries, it's all about, what are your goals? And really, I did a short a couple of days ago that was just talking about, like, this full moon is asking you not to waste your energy and not waste your time. And a lot of us could be wasting our time and our energy on the wrong relationship, the relationships that are keeping us distracted, keeping us from not being able to take control of our lives. All right, give me one more layer of, okay, one more layer. Okay, so with this setting on over the Three of Cups, it's, being willing to, are we going to be willing to let go of negative relationships so that we can, get the abundance that we need? We never know what's on the other side of us letting go of negative things. Okay. And this Emperor right here, Emperor with fairness, is showing that our relationships, some of our relationships can be keeping us from taking control of our lives. Okay. Relationships that aren't fair, relationships that aren't balanced, are keeping us from taking the control of our lives. There's an emperor and an empress out here. All right, I need one more layer of information. What do we need to know about relationships for this full moon in Aries? It's a lot of relationships that seem like they're distracting. The relationships trying to hold you back in the past. Okay. Yep, unfair relationships. Being afraid to like, if you're in a relationship and you're not allowed to be who you are, it's going to keep you from opportunities. Okay? It's going to keep you from opportunities. And you want to make sure that you are not wasting your energy on, seems like a lot of the same thing, like just not wasting your energy on things that don't feed you, things that aren't. This seems like it's talking about six of wands with the arts and the medicine woman. To be honest, for me, it seems like it's talking about um, wasting your time on things that, now this could mean like wasting your time on doing like spiritual practices that aren't from the heart, or they're not done the right way. Um, for instance, like love spells or like things like that where you're trying to control people, like wasting your time on spiritual practices like that. Or it could be like wasting your time on spiritual practices like, if you read a lot of cards or get a lot of readings that's already told you the answer, and you're like, well, I need to know more information, I need to know more, or I need to go deeper. our relationship with spirituality, sometimes we can let it sabotage us. So that could be something that you might want to think about. Like, you don't want to abuse it. Not to say that you can like read too much or anything like that. But when it's to the point where that's all you're doing and you're not taking action, which is Aries is all about taking action. But when you're stuck in the trying to get the spiritual advice for too long, you're sabotaging yourself. So just look at your relationship with like spiritual practices, with with all the energy in Scorpio that's trying to get into what's underneath the surface too much. That can hurt you. Um, so yeah, that's basically what I want to say about relationships. Now with the second point of doing something daring, that is pretty self-explanatory. So you just want to think about, and so I'm not going to pull any cards for doing something daring. So you just want to think about, like, is there who is there something that you've been needing to tell somebody or say something to somebody that maybe you've been afraid of, or you're afraid of the repercussions if you say it? Most likely right now is the best time for you to say it, because bold one bold action can change your life. It can transform your life. And for some of us, that bold action is saying what we need to say, even if it's scary. I'm not saying be mean, and I'm not saying be rude, but sometimes you just need to, you need to say what you need to say. Okay. Um, and with Mars ruling Aries, Mars is all about taking action and doing something. So it could be a bold action that you need to take, something that you've been procrastinating on, something that you might not even feel like you can do, or like you have the confidence. That's something else that Mars and Aries is confidence and is courage. So maybe it's something that you feel like you don't have the courage or confidence to do, um, anything you're afraid to do. Really reflect on that, because that might be the main thing that's going to change and transform your life. And with Lilith being with Lilith also being in Scorpio, you want to think about what how you might have been rejecting, or how other people might have rejected your dark feminine energy. Like you just being your true raw feminine self, like whatever comes out. You just being you. Um just kind of reflect on how you need to accept, um what bold action can you take to accept your dark feminine energy? Could it be also not putting not guarding yourself to where, or putting a mask on so much that you're not being who you are? It could be allowing yourself to dress and move and in a different way, um, and operate different way in relationships. So just think about where you could be needing to accept that side of you more. Just like I said, one bold action can change and transform your life. And with um, the last thing, let's look at how we can love ourselves, how we can make a new commitment to loving ourselves more, how we can make a new commitment to our self-care journey with this full moon in Aries. Taking control of your life, that doesn't seem like it's self-love or self-care, but it really is, with the Emperor coming out again, which is Mars, Aries energy. Um, take self-love and self-care is not always like skincare. A lot of the times it's making sure that that you are in a stable place, doing what you need to do to make sure that you're stable, that you are taking control of your life, um, that you are the Seven of Swords. So we want to make sure that we're honest with ourselves. Okay. We want to make sure that we kicking are getting people out of our lives that getting people out of our lives that keep us from loving ourselves. Okay. But we also want to make sure that we're not resisting doing something that's going to make us temporarily uncomfortable when it comes to our just because it's going to make us uncomfortable when it comes to our self-care and self-love journeys. So, sometimes doing something new can be uncomfortable. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So just make sure you're not just resisting the feeling of being uncomfortable. Okay. We got the Magician reverse, King of Keys. Okay, it's a lot of taking control of our lives, taking control of our finances, our money. Okay, getting rid of codependence. Okay, let's get some more. One more layer, one or two more layers of clarity for how can we make a new commitment to our self-care and self-love journey. Okay, new beginnings, blossoms. So yeah, we're going to have to do something new, do something different we haven't done. With this right here, this is giving me Seven of Swords with the Medicine Woman. We won't be able to heal unless we're honest with ourselves. And with, like I said, all the shadow work that we're going to have to do to be able to clearly see what it is we need to let go so we can have our new beginning. And Chiron being in Aries with the supermoon, it's not conjunct, but just with it being with it, we are really going to have to be honest with ourselves so that we can heal our Chiron wounds and move forward. We won't be able to do it if we're not honest. Let's see. Yep, don't back down. Don't back down from doing anything that's uncomfortable. And don't back down from kicking people out of your life that need to get out of there when it comes to loving yourself. Kick them out. Get them out of there. Yeah, this looks like a lot of reflection too. Queen of Cups reverse with quiet time. We're going to have to do a lot of reflection to because, like I was talking about before, all the energy, like with the sun being in the section of Libra that it's in, with its the sun is already debilitated there. So there's that. Okay, thank you, Shirley. The sun being, that with the sun being debilitating, then it's in the section of Libra that it's in that makes things cloudy, that makes things illusionary, and Rahu being in Pisces makes things kind of difficult to see clearly. Being able to meditate so we can see what's been holding us back in our self-care and self-love journey, that's going to be really important. Okay. All right. One more level of clarity. Then we're going to move on. Give me one more level of clarity. What do we need to do to make sure we are moving forward with our new commitment to our self-care and self-love journeys for this new moon and full moon in Aries? All right, using wisdom. Go ahead and go with one-sided relationships. That keeps coming up. And I keep getting calls about, okay, so when it was eclipse season, during the last eclipse, during the last lunar eclipse, around that time, I got a lot of calls for readings about um, loved ones that passed over. They wanted to connect with them because the energy in the air when with eclipses, like I was talking about, it has a lot to do with our ancestors. And so I got a lot of calls about Passover loved ones. And now that the sun is in Libra, I get a whole bunch of calls about relationships. So a lot of it is one-sided relationships. That seems like it keeps coming up. So make sure that you are Libra is about keeping things balanced, keeping things fair. So you want to make sure that you're in a relationship that is balanced, okay? Where there's give and there's take. Yeah, so I have the same. But when you're taking control of your life, a lot of things can seem new, a lot of things can seem really new. So it's going to be important that you lean on your wisdom and also lean on your spiritual team. Okay. I'm not trying to take all day. I'm trying out new formats. So, um, I wanted us to really, think about because there's so much to think about. Because sometimes we don't, people say like cut things out of your life, we don't automatically just know what those are. We're going to have to do a lot of reflection. Some of us might have to do divination, some of us might need to talk to somebody else. So I just want us to really be thinking about what we need to cut out. Okay, with Mars being in Scorpio, with Mars being in Scorpio, I started at how long have I been doing this? Are you talking about reading or are you talking about um how when did I start this stream? I started at 8 o'clock. I've been doing readings since 2015. But with Mars in Scorpio, and Scorpio meaning, one of the meanings is making sure that you are facing your fears in order to get to your seat of power. Okay. And a lot of what we need to let go of is going to be, some of us, for some of us, it's going to be hard for us to see what we need to face because we're letting our fear stop us from seeing. Okay. Um, so yeah, we have to face our fears. We have to get into the shadow to see what fears we need to face. Then we need to accept what we really need to let go, and then that's going to help us move forward. That's I just wanted us to really understand that. So if you want to go deeper into the shadow work to see what we need to let go of and what we need to accept, then the next 14 days, starting tomorrow, I'm just going to say starting tomorrow, come back here and um, look at the YouTube community because that's where it's going to be. We're going to be daily doing the shadow work challenge. That's 14 days leading up to the new moon in Libra. Okay. So that is what I have for you. And look out for me next Monday. We're going to be doing a moon service every Monday. So the next moon service is going to be about the waning moon. And, it's more of what we need to let go of and what we need to bind and banish and things like that. So I'll be talking about what's going on in the sky. And you know, just look out for more of that and look out for the 14-day challenge in the YouTube community.